Hey guys, and welcome to my video. My name is Zach, and I'm a student nurse who works at the BYU Idaho Medical Center in Rexburg, Idaho. And today I'm going to be talking to you about living with your diabetes. Now, hopefully, if you're watching this video, you are between the ages of 10 and 16. And I say that not because, it would be a problem if you weren't between the ages of 10 and 16, but because that's the age group that where diabetes mellitus type 1 will occur. So the main point, or what I hope that y'all take away from this video today, is not just learning about diabetes and how to treat it and how to live with it, but um, specifically that just because you have diabetes, that it doesn't mean that you have to feel like you're different from everybody else or that you can't do all the things that you love and all the things that you enjoy, because you can. um, and I'm going to show you how. So without further ado, um, if we are to know how to live normally with diabetes, we have to first understand what diabetes mellitus type 1 is. So when I say diabetes in this video, and for the remainder of this video, I am referring to diabetes mellitus type 1, because saying diabetes mellitus type 1 is a mouthful. So I'm not going to worry about type 2 because type 2 is for another day. So diabetes, when I say diabetes, I'm referring to type 1, okay? So without further ado, diabetes is an autoimmune disorder. Autoimmune meaning your own body or your own immune system attacks itself. In this case, for diabetes, your immune system attacks your pancreas and parts of your pancreas that produce what we call insulin. If you haven't heard of insulin before, if you're unfamiliar with what it does, look at this bottom right picture here. On the right, we see all these white dots in this blood vessel. Each of these white dots is a blood sugar molecule. Um, Insulin will take these blood sugar molecules and feed them to your muscles so your muscles can have energy. And without insulin, your muscles don't get this energy, and instead, these blood sugars will sit in your bloodstream and accumulate and cause a whole myriad of different problems to occur um, over time. Um, so that's why it's important to control your blood sugar levels, and why your pancreas is important. And without the insulin to do so, then you could have a problem. So, quick facts about diabetes. There are 42 million different people on this planet who have diabetes mellitus type 1. Not type 2, but type 1 specifically. And I say this because I know for me personally, if I was told that there were many other people who struggle with the same thing I did, that I'd feel a little better. I'd be comforted a little knowing that fact. And maybe it doesn't help you, but I know that it may help some people. So it's worth knowing. And it's pretty significant because 42 million people is a lot of people. And because they all have diabetes, we know a lot about it and how we can treat it and how we can help those with diabetes to live normally. Now, I want you to think about uh, what it was like and what your body was going through before you were told or before you were diagnosed that you have diabetes. You probably were thirsty all the time, and you would drink a bunch of water. No matter how much water you drank, you were just thirsty all the time. The same thing goes with urination. You probably had to pee a ton, and it just kept coming, and you're wondering where all this pee was coming from. You were likely feeling really hungry and just starving, and no matter how much food you ate, you just wanted to keep eating more. And despite eating all that food, you may have gotten skinnier and experienced some weight loss. And lastly, you were probably tired and just exhausted as well. And whether or not you had all these symptoms or some of these symptoms, um, it likely pointed your doctor to the idea that you probably had diabetes. And so you took a sample of either your urine or your blood or both and tested them for blood sugars and saw that you had quite a bit of blood sugar and diagnosed you with diabetes as a result of it. So earlier I mentioned that too much blood sugar can cause a whole myriad of problems to occur if you are not able to control your blood sugar and bring it down. So I'm going to kind of go over real quick different things that can happen. First of all, too much blood sugar can damage your blood vessels. It can damage your heart and cause heart disease. And yeah, those are bad. You don't want those. Not only that, but it can also affect the blood vessels that are in your eyes and cause visual disturbances or even blindness if it gets bad enough. And it'll affect your kidneys by damaging your kidneys and their ability to filter out all the bad things that are in your blood. And also, it can affect your nerves. You may have heard, or maybe you experience yourself, um, people who have numbness or loss of feeling in parts of their body, like their arms, legs, or in particular their feet. I don't mean to tell you this to scare you, but what happens to a lot of people with diabetes is that they lose feeling in their feet and then they develop a sore that turns into an infection that turns into necrosis, or it literally causes their feet to die and they have to cut their feet off as a result of that. And that's some serious stuff. Um, and not only that, but many other things can also occur because your blood sugar is just too high, and that's why it's important that we keep it down. So, this is how we keep it down. We monitor our blood sugar a lot. In the top picture right there, you see a device called a glucometer. Now, a glucometer is just meant to check how much sugar is in your blood. One of the unfortunate things about living with diabetes is that you have to prick your fingers all the time in order to drop some blood, but it's important to do in order to know how much blood sugar is in your blood. So you have to prick your finger and check your blood glucose before you eat meals, before you have snacks, before going to bed, even before exercise, or just when you suspect that you have low blood sugar, you should check your blood sugar. And then once you know what your blood sugar is, and or when you're getting ready to eat and you know you need to give yourself insulin, then this bottom picture that you see here is an insulin shot. You have to use that to give yourself insulin. And that is given either in the abdomen or in the thigh, just an area with a good amount of fat tissue that you won't stab yourself in the muscle. Um, Now, the last thing to keep in mind is you need to have a healthy diet. And I mean, isn't this something that we should all do? We should all eat healthy. I I want to dispose or dispel the myth of what you may have heard of as the diabetic diet. That really doesn't exist. If you have diabetes, which if you're watching this video, you do, um, just know that you need to eat plenty of fruits, plenty of vegetables, whole grains, including like whole wheat bread or whole wheat pasta, and avoid eating what it says right here, refined sugars, but that means donuts, candy, chocolate, cookies, cake, all that yummy good stuff that you love to eat. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that you can't ever eat it because you can have it at times. It's just the important thing is you need to know how your body reacts to eating these things, because after eating a donut, you need to know how much your blood sugar is going to go up and how much insulin you therefore need to give yourself. And it's not an exact science. I wish I could tell you how high your blood sugar is going to be after eating a donut because I can't. I just can't. It's different from person to person. So just know how your body responds and be prepared to give yourself the insulin necessary, or just keep it under control and don't eat those things when you really don't need to. Okay. I want to go back to the point that I want to emphasize, that you can still live a normal life. If it feels like a burden to have to prick your finger all the time and give yourself insulin. In fact, it's probably scary, but I promise you, if you do these things and keep your blood sugar under control, that you can still play sports like you used to do, or you can still join the dance team like you've always wanted to, and do all these activities with your friends, with your family, and with those you love. Diabetes is not going to hold you back from doing any of those things as long as you do your part in controlling your blood sugars. Okay, so I just want to go over some quick questions that people commonly have regarding diabetes, um, because you probably are wondering some of these things yourself. So, first one is, what causes type 1 diabetes? Like I mentioned already, it is an autoimmune disorder, meaning your body attacks itself. And why your body attacks itself, we do not yet understand, but we know that that is occurring, and it attacks your pancreas. Second one, can I still exercise? Yes, absolutely. In fact, I would encourage you to exercise, because exercising is a great way to actually control your blood sugars and keep them down. So, yeah, thumbs up, please exercise. And then lastly, will I need to take insulin for the rest of my life? Yes, you will. But there are things like an insulin pump, or uh, yeah, mainly an insulin pump that'll kind of take the inconvenience away from having to give yourself insulin shots all the time. And if you have further questions about the insulin pump that I just mentioned, or anything regarding diabetes and how you can live with it, I've provided some of these resources here for you. Um, these three different websites have all sorts of information. So if you or your parents or uh, anyone you know just has questions or wants to seek information, they can go to these websites here and find answers to their questions. In fact, there are even online forums where you can uh, join a support group to uh, be in a community of people online who also have the same struggles that you do, particularly diabetes. And I just wanted to let you know that these resources are here and they are available to you. So please take advantage of them. You won't regret it. That concludes everything that I had for you today. I want to thank you guys for watching my video. Hopefully, something that I provided to you today was of some value to you. And again, I hope you're able to feel like you can go out there, you can learn to manage your diabetes, and that you can live happily and live a normal life in spite of your diagnosis. There is a way provided to you to do so, and I encourage you to continue to learn more about diabetes and um, how to live with it, because you can do this. I, I believe in you. Alrighty. Thanks again for watching. Bye bye.